don't move very much when you've been sitting for a long period of time, the organs of the torso, the vital organs, can become quite stagnant. They kind of just sink down with gravity, piling on top of one another, and as the energy gets cut off, blood flow gets cut off, digestion becomes sluggish, and so on. So there can be quite a heavy, uncomfortable feeling in the torso. And a good way to reverse that is literally to reverse the position of the torso, so to go upside down, so to experience an inversion. And inversions, as long as the body is physically comfortable and that you're okay doing it, and physically okay to do it, inversions are actually very settling for the physiology. They take pressure off the heart and they connect you with your parasympathetic nervous system, so your relaxation response. So this sequence, you can play around with it, use it in slightly different ways. You can just simply lie with your legs up against the wall or with your hips slightly lifted, as I'll show you, just simply to be in a restful position and to invert the torso a little bit. Or you can make it more of a dynamic, strengthening exercise, and you can invert quite a lot as long as your neck and shoulders are feeling okay, and really shift what's going on here in your vital organs. So we'll start by lying with the legs up against the wall, which can be an exercise in itself, getting your legs up against the wall. But my tip for this normally is just to shimmy up to the wall with one of your hips. So you've got your knees bent, your feet back to the wall, and you're as close to the wall as you can be. And then you kind of swivel round. You lengthen out your legs and you swivel round. And then you'll probably take a little bit of adjustment to get your buttocks fairly close to the wall. They don't have to be right up against the wall. If your hamstrings are tight, that won't happen. But you're just getting yourself as comfortable as you can be here. You want your shoulders and your hips to be in line, so you're not lying off at an angle, and your legs are just comfortably extended upwards. And you just take a moment to be here. So you'll probably feel an immediate shift in the quality of your inner energy, a settling, as soon as you invert the legs. So you're tuning into that. You're conscious of the heaviness of your pelvis on the floor, your shoulder blades flat to the back, of the movement of the breath through you. And as I say, you can stay here for 5 minutes, 10 minutes with your legs inverted. It's a very good way to settle. It's a nice way to prepare for sleep if you have issues with sleeping. So you can just stay here, simple as this. If you want to turn it into more of an exercise for the abdominal muscles, for the neck and shoulders, a massage for the back muscles and so on, then perhaps you can start incorporating some of the following movements. So you can work on the shoulders whilst you're lying here. Let's take the arms out to shoulder height and bend the elbows. So you're making a right angle with your upper arm and your forearm. And if you find that this position has the hands kind of hanging in the air, then perhaps you can be prepared with some pillows or something you can just pull in and rest your hands on. So you don't want them hanging around in the air, you want them resting onto something, because they're going to stay in contact with that support as you lift just your right elbow up towards the ceiling. So the back of the hand is staying on the floor and the right elbow is lifting up towards the ceiling. So there's a squeeze there around the back of your right shoulder. And then you slowly and deliberately press that elbow back down again. So as the air you're moving through is thick and you're having to work a little to get the elbow down. And then when it touches the floor, you completely relax. And then you take it on the left side. You're lifting the left elbow up towards the ceiling. So you're keeping the back of the shoulder on the floor. The hand is still in contact with the floor somehow. And then you're slowly lowering that left elbow down, deliberately pushing it so that the muscles around the left shoulder are working. And then when the elbow touches the floor, you relax, completely relax. And then let's lift both elbows together. So tuck your chin in a little here. You might press the middle of your back down, so the back of both shoulders are on the floor. It might feel different, one side of the body to the other. That might be expressing here in my demonstration that one shoulder is tighter than the other or whatever. And then you're very slowly lowering the elbows down. And you might find that the muscles judder a little on the way down when you hit weak spots in the muscle. So you just go with that, or that, like's happened with me, one elbow's touched the floor much sooner than the other, and then you relax. And then you can repeat that again. So you lift the right elbow up and slowly lower it down. It's firm pressure as you bring the elbow down. And then relax. Do take that moment to relax so your muscle can repattern. And then you lift the left elbow up, and that slow and deliberate press of the elbow down towards the floor. And then that relaxation so the muscle can repattern. And then both elbows lifting up. So here my intention is going to bring both elbows to touch the floor at the same time now, which didn't happen the first round for me. So bringing a little more attentiveness and control to it. Let's see. A bit better. And then you completely relax. So you could do a good few rounds of that if you wish. You might just do it once, you might do it 5 times. So just warming the shoulders up and releasing the neck. And then from here you can cradle the head with the hands, interlock the fingers behind the head and start waking up your abdominal muscles. So you can take a half turn of the head to the right, and then keeping the back of the pelvis pressed down, you raise the head up at this angle and you're squeezing the elbows in towards one another. So the back of the left shoulder is up high, the right shoulder is down. There's a twist in your belly and you're actively squeezing your abdominal muscles. And then you come back to neutral. Half turn of the head to the left. You want your neck to be comfortable. Coming up at this angle, squeezing the elbows in, lifting that right shoulder up high and lowering back down. And then heads to center and you're raising up. And releasing down. And again, you can do that just once, that sequence of 3 movements, or perhaps you can do it 3, 4, 5 times. So you're just choosing how you want to work, how you want the sequences to be. Center. So lifting your upper back up high, high, high here. And then lowering down. And a moment to release, perhaps a deep breath down into the base of your lungs there. And then the arms can come comfortably down beside you, so probably at about 45-degree angle from the sides of the body. And you can take your feet hip width apart if you've had your legs together. And let's focus a little now on the lower abdominal muscles and on deepening the inversion of the body. So we're going to start lifting the hips up. So you can place the soles of the feet flat to the floor and you press into the feet and you draw your pelvic floor muscles in and up and you feel your belly squeeze towards the spine and you start to lift the hips. Let's come up as far as is comfortable. So you want to make sure that your neck and your shoulders are feeling okay with that. So it's a good idea to warm the neck and shoulders up a little bit first if you're going to go to this stage as well. And you slowly come back down again. And so this you can repeat as many times as you like. You've got that push of the feet into the wall, that lift of the hips up high. Obviously, you're monitoring how your back muscles feel, how your neck muscles feel. You're not forcing yourself into a position that's uncomfortable. It's going to put undue force on your neck. It should all feel therapeutic. And you can control the speed of the descent and also the pressure, the amount of pressure to your back muscles. So you'll be controlling that from your legs and from your core. And so you're getting a nice massage to the back of the body as well. So gently up and down. So you can do that for as many repetitions as you like. And after you've done a few, you start to feel that your legs are doing some good work here. So it's a good workout for the legs without weight bearing on your knees. If you've got problems with the knees or with the hips, it's a good way to strengthen the legs without weight bearing. And then you might choose to stay up for a little while. So you could just stay like this. So here you've got a good inversion of your torso if the hips are up quite high. So obviously you're creating lots of space here around your digestive organs, your reproductive organs. Lungs are in a slightly different relationship to gravity to usual here. You know, the heart will be moving in the chest. I mean, it's all very subtle, but there is some shifting. You might support yourself. You might bring your palms flat to your sacrum, and you might support yourself here. So elbows can walk a little closer in, and you want to make sure your neck feels completely okay. You don't want weight to your neck. You're taking the weight in the back of the shoulders and the arms. And so you might stay here, or you might straighten your legs out. Probably hip width apart might be best. And again, you're kind of taking the weight of the pelvis in your arms. So you don't want to feel that there's pressure to the back of the neck. If you're feeling head pressure, if your head is pulsing a little, then you might want to calm down. So that's your blood pressure rising. So not a great one to do if you have blood pressure issues that aren't being monitored by medication, this one. If you're on medication, you're fine. So you can stay for as long as is comfortable, and perhaps as long as the strength of your muscles will allow. And obviously you can see here that the whole body is getting a good sense of how it is to be upside down. And just in terms of awareness and as a metaphor, if you like, it's good to have things turned on their heads occasionally. To see how the world is upside down. It's just refreshing to see something from a different angle. Now, so you can stay for as long as you like, as long as comfortable, and then to come back down again. You'd anchor your feet to the wall if the legs have been extended. Take the arms back out, give yourself plenty of space. And one way to come down is to swing the hips from side to side. So that's a nice one if your back feels quite stiff. It just brings a bit more movement into your vertebrae. So you can come down, swinging your hips side to side, or of course you can just lower the hips down in neutral. And then you take a moment. Deep breath or two. And if you wanted to use this as a restorative position and stay for a little while with your torso inverted as well as your legs, you can use a yoga prop, yoga bolster. I've got a bolster here. So you could just slide the bolster in underneath the back of the pelvis there. Make sure it's comfortable. And again, you just settle here. So you've got a little bit of a lift in the torso, a little bit of back flow towards the chest, towards the throat. So it's good for nourishing the throat here, because obviously you've got blood pooling here. So it's and a little bit of pressure of the chin tucking down. So it's a good stimulation for the throat, for the thyroid gland, for the thymus. So again, you could stay here 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, so you get yourself comfortable. But this bolster does need to be quite firm. And then to bring yourself out of that again, just lift your hips and you gently slide your proper way. You lower yourself back down. And to come out of the position, you can draw the knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a squeeze, and you might want to roll out of the position the opposite way that you came into it. So I came into it from the side, so I'm going to roll out from this side. Bring yourself back to upright. You might feel a little bit of a head rush as you do that, so possibly into a child's pose. If you're feeling a little bit lightheaded and strange, woozy, you take a few deep breaths in a child's pose. So generally quite soothing to go upside down, as long as the body's comfortable, so you can give that a try. And just as I'm set up here for inversions, I can show you something a little more playful that you would need to go carefully with, and you do need to be strong in your upper body and do not have neck problems, so be sensible. But if you energetically feel like you're climbing the walls in this coronavirus time, so I'm making these videos during the coronavirus lockdown time so that people can practice at home, you can actually physically climb the walls. And test your upper body strength and go towards a handstand. Yeah, so again, this is just play, obviously be sensible. So for this, perhaps you'd kneel with your back to the wall. Let's see how I'm positioned here. And then you can bring the pads of your feet onto the wall there. And you might just want to play around with that. You kind of push the feet into the wall, away from the wall. And even that just feels quite satisfying. I often find it really satisfying when I've got something to push against. So something to push against. You could try pushing into the balls of your feet, pushing into the soles of the feet, lifting the knees up a little bit. So I'm demonstrating that very well. I need to be a bit higher. Yeah, so you're going up a bit higher. You're starting to walk your way up. Perhaps I should have practiced this first. Yeah, so anyway, you get the idea that you're kind of playing around with the push off from the wall, so you're not worried about what it looks like really. You're just playing. Yeah, and so maybe one at a time you might push one knee into the one foot into the wall and then try that kind of lifting. So check what's going on around your neck and your shoulders. Do you want your shoulders away from the ears? You want your neck long. Yeah, so you're not pinching your ears there. Yeah, so you just play around. So you're going towards a handstand, and then obviously if you're wanting to be a little more practiced with your handstand, then you come in much closer to the wall to go up. And you play around that way, but you know, be safe. So yeah, a little bit of handstand prep. And also, if you want to try a dog pose against the wall, that can be really satisfying. So you'd come from your all fours. So here it would be the heels that are on the wall. And again, you might need to play around to get that right. So you come up. So you've got the heels on the wall, balls of the feet on the floor. Bend your knees and just... You might find you get much more length through your torso there with that push off from the wall than you do when you're trying it freestanding. Yeah, so that's a nice satisfying one. And give yourself a moment when you come back up, so make sure there isn't that lightheadedness. You can always go back into child's pose again. So a few things to play around with. Okay.